And the feeds just keeps on feeding. You guys, there is no end to the drama in this season's Big Brother. It's so, I have no words, guys. I have no words for this year's BB season drama. It keeps on going. We're almost at the end and the drama hasn't stopped. Okay, let me just start by saying that Monte and Taylor are kind of a no man's at the moment, because there has been so many things that, when you get comfortable with someone in a relationship, or what you think is a relationship, and maybe the other person doesn't think it's a relationship, it just, the relationship between these two, whatever it is called, has progressed so fast because you're in a pressure cooker house and you only see each other 24/7. There's nothing to do, there's nothing to read. You can't get away and go off on your own, even though they try. But familiarity really breeds contempt. And if you've known someone for 75 days, that's kind of not enough. You kind of have to have a break in between those days, and then that's how you build your relationship. But when you're in a pressure cooker like this, it kind of progresses so fast. Like, you're married but you're not married, you're in a relationship but you're not in a relationship. So what they're having right now is just the sex. The more you have sex, the more intimate you become, and it's just a complicated thing when you're inside a house and you have nowhere to run. So if one person is becoming very comfortable in that so-called relationship, then the other person kind of doesn't understand what's going on, and maybe they're normally a slow progressor, if you know what I mean. So I think Monte is a slow progressor, and he doesn't really understand Taylor's sense of humor. And so when she says something out of pocket, it's not like something that he would understand if he's not normally that person. If he's kind of a serious person and you're forcing him to be someone that's just, rolls with the punches, it's difficult and it's complicated. So when she said something, and I'm going to try to tell you exactly, I wish I could put the video on here, but I get the copyright claim. But I'm going to tell you the story. So yesterday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they were all laying around in the HOH room. Taylor was laying next to Monty in the bed, who was listening to Beyonce on the headphones. And Britt was there having a conversation with Taylor. And then Taylor looks at Monty and says, and grabs the headphones from his head, and it kind of moves his sunglasses. He was wearing sunglasses, trying to sleep. He was trying to take a nap. She kind of rips it off his head, that made his sunglasses fall off his head, and said, give me that. That's my music. How disrespectful of people to come into my room and listen to my music. So disrespectful. So I think she was just kidding, but it was like a serious joke. And if you're not really in a relationship, or you're in a good relationship and you really understand each other after years and years of being together, somebody's sense of humor, then that's fine. You kind of let it slide off your shoulders. But because they're not there yet, and she made that comment in front of Brittany and Turner, who was laying there on the couch, I think that it was offensive to Monte. Kind of didn't say anything, and then a few minutes later he got off the bed and walked out the room. But before that, rewinding back, he said something about his goddaughter, and said that, I can't believe that I've actually seen a human being born and growing up, and now it's been a year and she's pretty much a toddler. And Taylor, of course, has to say something about it, and she said, toddler, ha ha ha. Come on, Monty. toddlers are between 2 and 4 years old. And so he said, he just kind of chuckled and said pre-toddler, and then she's like pre-toddler, but then she continues on to mock him about not knowing what a toddler was. So it's kind of a little bit off-putting to Monty. But I think that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I think he was already having doubts about her the whole time, being intimate with her, and probably seeing her as being outside the house and being his girlfriend and how she's acting. I don't know what happens in between two people unless you sleep between them. You just don't really know the real story behind it. What I'm telling you right now is just the facts. I'm not on either side, because there's always going to be two sides in a relationship. That not necessarily one is right and the other is wrong, unless you're being physical and you're hurting someone. Yeah, then you're wrong. But them not understanding each other that way makes me believe that both of them had a preconceived notion about getting into an intimate relationship with each other. I think it's two-pronged. One is because they're just horny. Two is because they're using each other to get to the end, which I mean, if that's their gameplay, that's great, use each other to get to the end. But I don't think the one knows about the other's strategy of using the sex part to get to the end, but they both did it. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. So now they're in a pickle. No pun intended. But yeah, they're in a pickle. So now Brittany comes out to the yard where Monty was working out, and she said something like, "Oh, I knocked on the door and Taylor was still out. She's still sleeping." Monty started to tell her about what offended him about what she said, and of course Taylor also did this in front of Brittany, so Brittany kind of knew what he was talking about. Brittany said something about that when Michael was about to exit the house, when he was evicted, that Taylor told Brittany that Michael was in her ear telling Taylor to tell Brittany who not to trust and who to trust and all that stuff. So she just kind of put in her 2 cents about in that conversation. But Monty just kept going on and on and on. Brittany went to the bubble room and started talking to America and said, "The jig is up. Now I know that there's really no path for me to get to the end unless I get Turner to panic." Which I don't think. Turner is just a chill guy. I don't think he ever panics about anything. But I guess in one of their conversation, Turner said something like, when I had my van, I had $29,000 to spend on a van, and it wasn't a big deal. So Britt was saying, well, if somebody has $29,000 just to buy a van. So that's what's happening, guys. I just wanted to come in real quick to let you know that there is trouble in BB Paradise. It's going to be an uphill battle, but Britt has to really work in the next 3 days to get to the finish line. So we shall see, guys. I'm telling you, this is a crazy house.